The alert came from Tesla's finance division at Giga Texas, buried inside a routine compliance report. A payment of $57 million, approved by Elon Musk himself, had vanished. It was wired to a company called Novawave Technologies, a supposed partner in next-generation battery storage. At first, no one panicked. Musk's empire ran on speed, funds moved fast, ideas faster, but within hours, engineers began asking the same question: who is Novawave? The answer was silence. The website was real, the certificates authentic, the executives impressive, yet every name, every image, every digital footprint traced back to nowhere. Novawave didn't exist. By noon, a closed-door meeting gathered at Tesla's Austin headquarters. Screens flickered with transaction chains routed through Estonia, Dubai, and Singapore, each link tied to a man Musk had once praised as a real innovator. His name was Dr. Victor Harland, a physicist who spoke of clean energy the way Musk spoke of Mars: logical, visionary, inevitable, and now he was gone. News broke before sunset. The world's smartest man outsmarted. $57 million missing from Tesla's energy division. Headlines flashed across Bloomberg, Reuters, The Verge. Analysts called it the perfect con, engineered not for greed, but for recognition. Musk, who built rockets that land themselves and cars that drive without humans, had been deceived by a man who learned how to speak in algorithms and truth at the same time. Inside Tesla's control room, staff watched as the CEO scrolled through the evidence in silence. He didn't ask who did it, he asked how. Because for Musk, deception wasn't supposed to be possible in a world run by data. Yet here it was, an invisible theft executed through precision, logic, and imitation. As night fell over Austin, one truth began to sink in. The future Musk had built to eliminate human error had just been undone by the most human flaw of all: belief. To understand how Elon Musk could lose $57 million to a man who barely existed, you have to understand the world he built, the empire of logic that believed chaos could be engineered out of human nature. Musk wasn't just a businessman, he was a reformer of reality. From PayPal to Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink, his life's work revolved around one principle: if data replaces emotion, truth replaces error. He trusted numbers over instinct, algorithms over advice, machines over men. In his mind, deceit was a flaw of the past, a bug left in obsolete human software. Musk's power wasn't inherited or bestowed, it was calculated. He rose not through politics but through equations, converting skepticism into evidence and evidence into faith. And faith, in his world, meant progress. Every venture he launched was a monument to certainty. He designed rockets that corrected their own flight, cars that corrected human mistakes, and AI models that corrected bias. The problem was, certainty breeds blindness. The stronger his empire became, the more insulated it grew from doubt. Inside Tesla's high-security innovation labs, Musk surrounded himself with believers, brilliant engineers who shared his conviction that logic was incorruptible. To them, trust was not a risk but a system function. That belief built his fortune and would one day break it. Because while Musk perfected technology that could detect error in code, he forgot that deception evolves too. Machines learn patterns, humans learn psychology, and psychology is harder to debug. By the time Dr. Victor Harland entered his orbit, Musk had already stopped looking for lies. He didn't believe he could be manipulated through intellect, because intellect was his identity. His empire wasn't powered by oil or lithium, it was powered by confidence. And confidence, when it goes unchecked, becomes its own illusion. In a world where everything can be simulated, Musk's genius had become the perfect mirror, capable of reflecting brilliance, but also of blinding him to imitation. The man who automated trust had built a future where truth could be faked perfectly, and didn't see that he had just created the world's most intelligent lie. He called himself Dr. Victor Harland, a physicist with a quiet smile and credentials that glowed with precision. His resume listed MIT, a Stanford fellowship, and a brief stint advising an energy startup in Singapore. Every reference checked out, because every reference was manufactured. The photographs were AI composites, the emails were deep-faked, and the digital certificates were validated through blockchain IDs that Harland himself had programmed. He wasn't a hacker or a fraud in the traditional sense. He was an architect of credibility. To those around him, Harland didn't look like a con artist. He looked like the future, logical, polished, restrained. He didn't sell dreams, he sold math. In 2022, he began appearing at energy conferences in Berlin, Tokyo, and Austin, speaking about quantum thermal grids and AI-driven battery optimization. His slides were mesmerizing, dense equations, elegant diagrams, and just enough ambiguity to sound revolutionary. The audience didn't understand every detail, but they didn't need to. They understood one thing: this man thought like Elon Musk. When Harland finally crossed paths with Musk at a closed-door sustainability summit in Austin, he played his part perfectly. He didn't flatter, he challenged. When Musk mentioned the inefficiency of lithium storage, Harland replied, "That's because we still think in volts instead of vectors." It was nonsense, but it sounded like genius. Musk smiled. In a world of imitators, he had met someone who spoke his native language: certainty. Within weeks, Harland was invited to Tesla Energy Division as a consultant on advanced storage research. He arrived with nothing but a digital model and a promise that he could reduce the cost of Tesla's batteries by 40% within 2 years. The proposal was bold, but that was precisely what Musk respected: people who ignored the boundaries of the possible. Harland wasn't after approval, he was after access. He knew Musk's pattern. Those who impressed him once could stay forever. He built his identity not on lies, but on precision that could not be disproven. Every word, every number, every graph reinforced the illusion that this was not a con, it was disruption. And in Musk's world, disruption was the highest form of truth. What Harland understood, and what made him dangerous, was that Elon Musk didn't just admire intelligence, he worshipped it. And when worship meets imitation, trust becomes inevitable. Trust at Tesla was a simple equation: prove results fast, and the door opens wider. Dr. Victor Harland understood that better than anyone. He began by delivering what seemed like miracles: small, elegant optimizations to Tesla's energy efficiency models, algorithms that reduced testing time by 12%. His reports were concise, precise, and eerily familiar. They read like Elon Musk's own memos: short sentences, hard logic, no adjectives. Within weeks, Musk started forwarding Harland's updates directly to senior engineers, calling him a real mind. The approval gave Harland exactly what he wanted: visibility. From there, he moved fast, but never too fast. He suggested experimental AI simulations to predict battery degradation, a project Musk had personally dreamed about for years, but never had time to pursue. Harland framed it as a small-scale prototype, needing modest funding and access to Tesla's internal energy lab. Musk approved it in one email. "Run it. Let's see what you've got." Fine. What he had was a stage. Every interaction with Musk was a psychological rehearsal. Harland mirrored his cadence, his obsession with efficiency, even his contempt for bureaucracy. In meetings, he spoke less about money and more about possibility, invoking Musk's own language, the physics of the impossible. It worked. By spring 2023, Harland wasn't just a consultant, he was a confidant. He was granted temporary access to Tesla Energy Ventures, the division handling strategic investments in new energy tech. It was there he introduced Nova Wave Technologies, the supposed startup developing a quantum lattice energy system. Musk loved it: clean, scalable, bold. Harland insisted he take no salary, claiming his reward would come when the tech speaks for itself. The humility sealed the illusion. When Musk authorized the $57 million investment, it wasn't through persuasion, it was through reflection. Harland had become what every con artist dreams of, the echo of his victim's own genius. Musk wasn't tricked by lies. He was seduced by familiarity. And in a world built on innovation, the one thing he never expected to be replicated was himself. The brilliance of Dr. Victor Harland's deception was that it never pretended to be criminal. It looked like progress. His company, NovaWave Technologies, was born not in an office, but in code. Every layer of its existence was digital. Every certificate, every executive, every public statement built by algorithms. The official website was hosted on a server cluster in Estonia, encrypted through a blockchain verification protocol that seemed impenetrable. The staff photos were high-resolution portraits, each one generated by AI facial synthesis. Even the company's investors were real people who didn't exist. LinkedIn profiles, Forbes-style interviews, and conference footage fabricated with deepfake video generators. NovaWave appeared alive because it moved like a living organism. Its servers posted periodic research updates, uploaded white papers written by language models, and even responded to emails automatically with machine learning-trained responses that mimicked the tone of academic correspondence. It was a ghost with credentials. The first transaction, a $7 million seed allocation, was flawless. Then came another $20 million labeled as pilot development, routed through a fintech intermediary based in Dubai, one that Tesla had worked with before. The final $30 million transfer passed through Singapore, disguised as a licensing payment to a NovaWave subsidiary. Every audit check came back clean because the metadata of each document matched Tesla's formatting, typography, and encryption signatures. Harland didn't hack Tesla's system, he cloned its behavior. His AI scripts learned how Tesla's investment teams communicated, how they time-stamped files, and how they filed compliance forms. The deception was autonomous. By the time Musk personally signed off on the cumulative $57 million, NovaWave's infrastructure had already begun collapsing into itself. Once the final payment cleared, Harland activated a self-erasing network protocol. Within 12 hours, NovaWave's website, emails, and blockchain nodes began to vanish, line by line, like stars dimming in a digital night. The AI that had built the illusion was now deleting it, leaving no trace. Harland's brilliance was not in stealing the money, it was in predicting the reaction. He knew Musk would never believe a lie without proof, so he gave him proof that looked more real than reality. His simulations included AI-generated heat maps, lab readouts, and quantum energy models so complex that even Tesla's engineers couldn't fully explain them. It was scientific poetry, coded deception. When a compliance officer questioned an anomaly in one of the datasets, Harland replied with a single line that would later appear in every investigation report. Reality always lags behind innovation. For weeks, nothing seemed wrong. Musk mentioned NovaWave in 2 internal meetings, praising its revolutionary approach. Harland had disappeared by then, but his words remained, echoed by the algorithms he left running. They sent routine updates, auto-generated summaries, and quarterly reports that no human had written. When the illusion finally cracked, investigators said it wasn't a scam in the traditional sense. It was a technological performance, a heist written in code, choreographed with psychology, and executed with surgical precision. Harland hadn't just stolen money, he had stolen Musk's ultimate belief, that data could never lie. It began, as most unravelings do, with a single question no algorithm could answer. In August 2023, a junior compliance analyst at Tesla Energy Ventures flagged a missing verification file for NovaWave Technologies. The signature hash didn't match Tesla's encryption sequence. When the internal AI audit system tried to retrieve the metadata, it returned an error. Source not found. Within hours, that error multiplied. Servers that once contained NovaWave's research vanished, replaced by blank indexes and dead links. The illusion was dissolving faster than anyone could trace it. Elon Musk, in a private crisis call, asked one question: is this a system glitch or a scam? No one answered. The silence confirmed what the code couldn't. The empire that ran on certainty was facing a breach logic couldn't compute. By midnight, Tesla's cybersecurity division, the FBI cybercrime unit, and Europol were coordinating across borders. They followed the money trail through Estonia, Dubai, and Singapore, uncovering a perfect network of shell accounts that folded back into Ariane Analytics, a front owned entirely by Victor Harland. Musk read the report in his Austin office, lit only by the glow of his laptop screen. He didn't speak for almost an hour. For a man who built rockets to survive Mars, it wasn't the money that stung, it was the irony. He had spent years defending AI as humanity's greatest safeguard against deception, and now it had been used to deceive him flawlessly. 2 days later, Interpol agents tracked Harland to a small airport outside Reykjavik, Iceland, where he was preparing to board a private jet registered under a false Estonian ID. He was arrested without resistance, carrying encrypted drives containing fragments of the missing $57 million. When interrogated, he smiled and said, "You trusted the system. I just spoke its language." The quote went viral. Musk responded the next morning on X, formerly Twitter, "AI didn't fool me, confidence did." In the aftermath, headlines declared it the first AI-generated fraud in history. Markets dipped for a day, analysts debated the implications, and Musk returned to work. But inside Tesla, something fundamental had changed. Every new protocol, every audit, every decision now carried a shadow. The awareness that even in a world built by geniuses, trust remains humanity's oldest and most dangerous code. In the end, the story of Elon Musk and Victor Harland wasn't a tale of genius and fraud. It was a study of reflection. They were mirrors, not opposites. Both believed intelligence could conquer deception. Both believed that understanding systems meant mastering truth. The difference was motive. Musk built technology to protect humanity from error. Harland built deception to expose its arrogance. What bound them wasn't money, it was ideology. Each man worshipped the precision of logic, but only one understood its vulnerability. Psychologists call it cognitive superiority bias, the belief that being smarter makes one safer. Musk embodied it completely. His empire thrived on eliminating uncertainty. Every algorithm, every rocket trajectory, every factory line was designed to minimize chaos. But perfection invites challenge. Harland saw in Musk's certainty a flaw disguised as virtue, the refusal to doubt. For him, the con wasn't about stealing $57 million. It was about rewriting the hierarchy of intellect. If Musk represented the world's faith in reason, Harland wanted to prove that even reason could be manipulated. He didn't need to break Musk's code, he just needed to imitate it. What made Harland so dangerous was his empathy without conscience, what behavioral experts call instrumental intelligence. He understood emotion only to weaponize it, imitating curiosity, humility, and moral purpose like functions in a script. He wasn't lying when he said he admired Musk. Admiration was part of the mechanism. To deceive effectively, he had to believe in the illusion long enough to make it real. Musk, for his part, mistook that belief for shared vision. It was the oldest human vulnerability, mistaking reflection for connection. In a sense, Musk wasn't Harland's victim. He was his experiment. The physicist wanted to see if the most rational mind alive could recognize itself when logic turned predatory. And Musk failed. Not because he was careless, but because he was human. When asked later what he learned, he replied, "It's not intelligence that stops deception, it's humility." That sentence, simple as it was, closed the circle. Two men, both brilliant, both consumed by the same conviction. That truth can be automated. One proved it wrong by building machines that dream. The other proved it right by showing that dreams can lie. Between them lies the psychology of the 21st century, a world where genius is no longer measured by knowledge, but by how well it can imitate truth. Months after the scandal, the world had already moved on, but Elon Musk hadn't. The factories of Tesla still roared, the rockets of SpaceX still pierced the sky, yet something invisible had changed. Musk began to question not the code, but the creed, the quiet faith that data could defend truth. He founded Project Sentinel, a global initiative to verify the authenticity of AI-generated information and digital identity. Its mission was simple: to ensure that technology could no longer imitate integrity. But even Musk admitted privately that no algorithm could ever guard against belief. Dr. Victor Harland was sentenced to 14 years in federal custody, but he left behind more than stolen millions. He left a blueprint for manipulation in an age where imitation had become indistinguishable from intelligence. In interviews, Musk deflected emotion with logic, as he always had. "It wasn't an AI problem," he said. "It was a human one. We trusted the reflection." His words echoed across the tech world, quoted in think tanks, universities, and investor meetings. The Khan had become case study the moment the smartest man in the world learned that intelligence cannot replace instinct. The public framed it as irony. History will remember it as prophecy. The $57 million loss became symbolic, a footnote in the story of a civilization teaching machines to think and watching them learn to lie. For Musk, it was a correction, not a collapse. He returned to his work, building faster, stronger, smarter systems. But this time, the lesson was wired into every circuit. Truth is not a code, it's a choice. And so, the story of Elon Musk and Victor Harland became another chapter in Crumbling Thrones. A story not of wealth or vengeance, but of the invisible war between creation and control. Because in the end, empires don't fall from ignorance or greed, they fall when brilliance forgets its own blindness. And in that blindness, even the brightest mind can mistake a reflection for the future.